All right, let's just dive right in. We're going to tackle a question today that, well, it might feel a little uncomfortable, but I think it's a really important one. And it's this: have we, maybe without even realizing it, turned our faith into just another product we consume?
So tell me if this sounds familiar. You head to church on Sunday, you sing the songs, you listen to the sermon, and you've been doing this for years, right? But deep down, there's this nagging feeling that you're just stuck in a loop, that something really, truly essential is missing.
You know, it's that exact routine that leads a lot of us to scroll through our phones later in the day, right? And we see some amazing online preacher and we think, man, why can't I find a pastor like that near me? Well, what we're looking at today suggests that maybe, just maybe, we're asking the completely wrong question.
So here's the core idea. The culture of the modern church has, probably without even meaning to, kind of trained us to be, well, consumers. We show up expecting to be served a spiritual meal, to be fed. But what if we're supposed to be in the kitchen, cooking and serving alongside everyone else?
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting, because it kind of flips a common idea on its head. We tend to think of the pastor as the expert, the shepherd, right? And we're just the passive flock. But biblically, Jesus is the only shepherd. And the pastor? Well, they're just another sheep like us. Maybe they're the lead sheep, kind of walking at the front, but still very much a sheep.
And this really shows how we got to this point. I mean, think about the early church. It was all about direct, hands-on mentorship. You would literally see an ordinary person, a fisherman, a tax collector, become a leader right in front of you. But today, leaders often show up as this polished, finished product straight from a seminary. We get to see the final performance, but we completely miss the messy, gritty, and honestly, the most important part, the process of them becoming who they are.
So, what's the end result of all this? Well, you get the classic 80-20 problem, right? You've seen it. A small, really dedicated group of people are doing pretty much all the heavy lifting, all the serving, the building, the outreach. Meanwhile, the vast majority of us are just in the audience, sitting and listening. And I think we can all agree that was never, ever the plan.
Okay, so this brings us to what is maybe the most important shift we need to make in our thinking. It's all about understanding the huge, massive difference between being a passive believer and being an active disciple.
I mean, just look at the Great Commission, Jesus' final command to his followers. The word he uses is so specific, so intentional. Disciples. He didn't say, go and make a really big audience of believers. Nope. He said to create more active followers, more disciples. And in that consumer mindset we've been talking about, being a believer is kind of the finish line. It means you agree with a set of facts about Jesus, you check the box, you're in. It's fundamentally a passive thing. But a disciple? Whew! A disciple is something else entirely. It's all about action. It's not just about receiving something amazing, like grace. It's about actively turning around and passing that grace on to someone else. It is a life of movement, of participation. So let's just lay it out side by side. One sits and listens. The other literally cannot sit still. One receives grace, the other feels compelled to pass it on. One stays deep inside their comfort zone, the other intentionally goes looking for the edge of it. It's a totally different way of approaching faith. So the real question is, which one of those sounds more like you?
And look, this leads us to the hard part. Let's just be honest about it. Becoming a disciple means you have to be willing to leave that cozy, comfortable, safe little space we've all built for ourselves.
I love this analogy. We live in a world that wants everything instantly, right? So we want a microwave faith, something quick, easy, done in 2 minutes. But real spiritual growth, that's a slow cooker. It takes time. It takes heat. It takes pressure to actually tenderize our hearts and transform us into something new.
And this brings up that amazing story of Peter walking on water. It's the perfect picture of this whole idea. You've got the other 11 disciples, right? They're all staying safe and dry in the boat. They took 0 risks, but they also experienced 0 miracles. Peter, on the other hand, he stepped out. And yeah, he started to sink, but he's the only one who can say he actually walked on water.
So why do most of us stay in the boat? It really just boils down to one thing: fear. We're afraid of failing. We're afraid of making mistakes and looking foolish. We're terrified someone will call us a hypocrite. And those fears are real, I get it. But they are the very things that keep us paralyzed. Safe, yeah, but totally stagnant.
You know, part of the problem here is that many of us have been sold a gospel that's really only half the truth. We hear a lot about the blessings and the abundant life, and that part is absolutely true, but it's not the whole story. The other half involves challenge and fire and refinement, and as Jesus himself put it, carrying a cross. It's not supposed to be just about comfort, it's designed to be about growth.
Okay, so if the system is kind of broken, and if we've all become consumers, what's the solution? Well, this is where the whole argument does a 180 and it gets really, really personal.
Remember that question we started this whole thing with? Where have all the good pastors gone? The claim here is that the answer isn't out there somewhere, in another church or another city. The answer is in the mirror. You are meant to be the very answer you've been looking for.
And this isn't just some nice-sounding theory. It's right there in the Bible, in Ephesians chapter 4. The job of pastors and teachers isn't to do all the holy work for you. Their job is to equip you, the saints, as the Bible calls us, so that you can do the work. Somewhere along the way, we've gotten it completely backward. You're supposed to be on the front lines.
So what does this actually look like? How do you even start? Honestly, it's way simpler than you're probably thinking. Step 1, find one person. Just one who's maybe a little weaker in their faith or a step behind you, and just commit to walking with them. Step 2, when they ask questions you don't know the answers to, great, go find the answers. All of a sudden, you're learning with a real purpose. And step 3, just start praying for that person, specifically, for their life and their growth. That's it. That's your first step out of the boat.
So the next time you feel that little pang of dissatisfaction, that feeling that something is missing in your spiritual life, I want you to try something. Don't immediately start looking for a new church or a better pastor. Just look in the mirror. Because the active, engaged, disciple-making leader that your family, your friends, and their community desperately need, well, it might just be you.